Hey, Stampin' Short by Sherry Borger. I'm going to show 3 cards that I made with the Hippest Hippos stamp set and the coordinating dies. So these 2 items were things that were in the Celebration mini catalog through Stampin' Up. These particular items are free items to pick, and you had last month and then through this month where you can actually pick these items with a certain dollar amount purchase. These 2 items you had to buy $50 each for each one. So I actually did. I had $100 order so I could get both of these free. I don't fussy cut with one hand. It doesn't work. So I love the die cuts. They go, this particular die cut set I totally love because it does go around the image real well, and they are small enough to fit into the small cut and emboss machine. And so I will go through the 3 cards that I created, and I will show you quickly, and then we'll walk through how to make them. This one, this one, and this one. Okay, I will go through this one first, just kind of explaining a few things. Now, not everything in here is current products in the catalog, and I will explain kind of a little bit why is because I have a lot of designer series paper that I I buy designer series paper because it's cute, but then it's too cute to use. Okay, so I'm not the only person that does that. So you have a whole pile of designer series paper that's just sitting around, and then you're like, oh no, I have all this paper. So I'm taking advantage of all my old paper, going through some of it I really like, see what I can coordinate it with, or see if it's something that'll work. I really like this because this particular hippo, it's like she is tightrope walking, and this paper, it's like streamers that you have on the wall. And I thought that was really neat because it kind of gave me the idea of walking on a tightrope. So that's why I picked this one. I'm using an old cardstock color, which is grapefruit color, and then this glimmer paper. It might currently be there, and then I found another designer series paper to cut and put underneath. And so I will just walk you through this. I'll go real quick, but I'm also going to explain my process is I'm not always good at original ideas, and so I always look on Google. I do a Google search and I put in, for instance, I put Hippest Hippos Stampin' Up. So up comes a ton of images. I'm sure you all do this. So I make pictures and make them kind of a portfolio out of the ones that I think I really like, or that ones have things that I have similar things to. And this was kind of the reason why I even picked this one, because it had that that might not be the grapefruit color, but it made me think of my grapefruit cardstock. So I was trying to go away from using black. So that's why my main base is the grapefruit color. And then I stack different colors as well. And so I don't have the name of who did this. It didn't show up on the actual, here we are, post, and maybe it did. I just didn't see it. So I can't give credit to this person, and so I really apologize. If it's you, thank you. And so the other one is this bathtub one, which I went kind of something similar. I went with that kind of that idea. And that one was by Gwen Duckworth, and I am really glad I found that one. Then I did a combination, so I did a couple ideas. So this one here is from, I don't know, a Dawn maybe, and so as you can see, this is going to be another one of mine, but I really had some paper, designer series paper I wanted to use, and so this was the one that I first looked at as well, because it has designer series paper and stack, so it's quite similar to the other one. So I comboed the two, and this one was by a Michelle Stegall. Now I did some things and did not do some things on my card, so I will explain what I did. So if you're in my stamp camp and you're watching this, you'll kind of get ideas or know how we're gonna put these cards together. So with this particular one, it's just the regular size half sheet of cardstock, and then you do your main one is 1/4 inch less, so it would be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that's how that one is. And then of course I did it so that my line my humps are going downward, so it looks like a tightrope, so to speak. I found this glimmer paper, which I really liked, because even though I think it's more white, look at how it looks green when you put the green with it. So I really liked that. And so you put those two pieces together, and you put just some twine or whatever you have, and double wrap it and knot it over to the corner. And then I have the circle punch. And so it's basically a white circle punch, and then I'm stamping on that, but I'm breaking the stamp into two pieces, and I'm putting the word point by itself with the dominating color of this grapefruit. So how I did that, which most of you already, maybe tried this. So it says you're always on point. When it came to actually doing it from the grapefruit color, I found it easiest just to stamp the entire piece, and then I put my die cut over the word point and cut that. It was easier for me to do it that way. Now, when you're doing this, however, you can't stamp the whole thing, because then you're not going to be able to get the word point off. So when you are ready to ink it, you take a piece of like a 3M sticky note, and then you cover the word point, stamp it into your ink, flip it around, take off the sticky note, and then stamp it on your cardstock. So that's what I did. Then I did my hippo, which is I used the small cut and emboss, and so I made sure I could put them on strips, so I just did a couple on a strip. Then what's really nice is these go right over your image, and if anyone knows die cutting, you already know this, but it goes right over your image like so, and then you're sandwiching it, putting it through your cut and emboss machine, and cutting them out. So to assemble it, you've got your designer series paper, you've got your two other pieces you're putting together at a little bit of an angle, wrapping it, and then putting your circle can go over the top. But what I did is I put my hippo on top of my circle first, and see, my hippo is off to the angle just a little bit. So you got to make sure when you're doing your dimensionals that you're only putting your dimensionals underneath this part that's going to be over the circle. The piece that's going to be hanging over, don't put dimensionals on, because it's not going to hang over correctly. I found an old one of these boxes of these flowers. Oh, here it is. And they were Blossom Elements from, I'm not even sure how many years ago, but I still had all these colors and they went well. So I put a little glue dot underneath my flower, one of the real sticky gooey ones, and put that down. Now the word point, I put the small dimensionals underneath there for that as well. See how cute that is? It was pretty easy. It's just a matter of doing all your cutting, stamping, all that stuff, all that jazz, right? So then let's go to this one. Okay, this one, again, I had this designer series paper, but it was the 6x6. All right, I love the 6x6s. You just gotta remember that you're not gonna have as much to cut with when you have the 6x6s, right? So this particular one had the one side was the, I think it's a chevron. I think that's what you call it. And then the other side was polka dots. But the polka dots that were on another side had, you see it has a bunch of like some gray, some of that, I think that's pool party. And then like an orangish dot. And so I'm using orange ribbon for the ones with the polka dots. And then the ones that have the chevron, I found ribbon that had white with some silver. So my bucket or my tub was gray cardstock. I cut my chevron. So you take your 6x6, you cut it in half, basically, and then cut it down to whatever size you want. Okay. So I think I did it at 4.5. So it gave it about an inch spacing on the top and the bottom. There's going to be about an inch there. And in these die cuts is also a trio of hearts. See that? And I made trio of hearts, but I only used 2 of them because my third heart, I found some buttons, some clear buttons, and so my third heart is on my bathtub. Love it. So then the belly of my hippo, as you can see, I use that same color as my hearts, you see. So I'm going to correct myself. I believe that's Coastal Cabana. And then I used this one is actually a darker, one of the darker grays for the hippo. And then my flower, I used kind of I think that might have been the grapefruit color, just to give it a little bit of, so it stands out. I hand stamped Love You a Ton in gray on the bottom. So that way, that's nice because then you don't have to have another piece of paper cut. As you can tell, I put dimensionals under, I put the white on top of the Coastal Cabana flat, and then put dimensionals underneath and put it over the top, middle, towards the edge. And then the hippo, I put the hippo on the tub first. So then I put the tub and the hippo was combined, and as you can tell, let's see, there, dimensionals. I use the mini dimensionals on these because then it kind of gives it it's not as high of a card. It keeps it a little more lower to the surface, which is what I liked. That's that one. Okay. So my third one. This one ended up being super cute, right? So I had this designer series paper. I've always wanted to use it on something. I had no idea. I've had it forever. It's one of those where you buy it and then you like it, but then you don't want to use it all up because then what are you going to do with your favorite paper, right? But it goes with the Highland Heather cardstock. So I stacked it. You got white, Highland Heather, white, and then your Hippo. And in this particular die cut is this piece, which when you cut it out, it looks like a boat, basically. So also that has this, which is tricky. This is your waves, right? So when you putting it on the paper and you die cut it, it's actually cutting your curvy wave part, but it doesn't cut the bottom. So now you have to hand trim it to whatever height you want your wave to be. So I think it's maybe about 1 inch from top of the wave to the bottom here. And then I put that in there. So I picked a blue that was in the same 10 colors as what the Highland Heather was. I picked that a blue that was in there. So I don't know, pool party or what, but I cut the umbrella in the same designer series paper as I did here. Okay. Super cute. And then the middle of my umbrella, let's see if you can tell. I have one of my clear buttons from my pack of buttons. And I put that in the middle. Now I've had this pack of buttons forever. And I am so glad I went through all of my containers. Don't forget to go through your containers of accessories and your old designer series paper. You can create some really, really neat cards. So I will also make make a list of all the dimensions of everything and how it was cut. So with this particular one, because it's a window, so what you're doing is, this is my, I keep my arm warm with a sock. So I don't know what to call them. I'll give them a name someday. And so then you want, when you fold your paper, normally you have, it is 4 1/4 by, the 5 1/2 normally, but you want your main part is going to be 4 1/4, right? So then you need to trim it so that way, or score it, so when you fold it, you have that 4 1/4 in the middle. So you take that 4 1/4 and divide it, so it's 2 1/8. You're scoring on each side at 2 1/8, and then you can fold it in. So it's tricky, and I made a few mistakes before I finally got it right. And then you're gonna trim your designer series paper to fit onto each piece here. And then I just kind of measured the way I wanted, how much of this piece front I wanted covered. You could have it smaller if you want. You could probably do it a little bigger, but I think it looks best about this size. I think I cut it down 1 inch. And I think it covered it real well. And all of these stamps are from this. As you can tell, the awe, you're always on point, love you ton. And I used one of every hippo. So this was a fantastic set. Don't pass it up if you really like animals. I usually pass up animals, and I am so glad I did not this time. I really am enjoying this. So that's all I have. And give me some comments. Let me know if there's something that I missed, and I will make sure I put it in another video. I will make sure to give you all some notes for dimensions as well. That'll come later. Thank you for watching, and I'm really a newbie at doing videos. So eventually I will be putting in links to all these products. The cardstock and the paper is from Stampinup.com. If you don't have a demonstrator, use me, Sherry Borger. I would appreciate it. If you're interested in maybe being part of my stamp camp, what I do is, as you can see, I will include your baggie of supplies with your, um, so this one would be, see, you have all of your cardstock cut, and then your baggie of little supplies that go with it. That's how I kind of assemble everything, and you would get that in a pack. And I usually try to do 4, and sometimes I'll throw in a 5th card, and there's just a small nominal fee for it that I have. And that's what I do. So I enjoy you watching, and thanks. Subscribe. Bye.